Wow. You look really stressed.
I need a vacation.
Okay, that's the perfect start. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Sip and Talkers, wherever you are in the world. Welcome back to Sip and Talk. I'm Sunny, and since you brought it up, this is the perfect segue, because today's topic is all about pressure and emotions and, wow, the information anxiety of living in the AI age.
Let's do it.
And joining me, as always, is my partner, who is basically the human equivalent of a liquid-cooled server, always calm.
Hello. You asked if I look stressed. I'm ready to process that data.
Exactly. I mean, who isn't stressed right now in late 2025? Every time I scroll, it's more news about AI replacing jobs or, global tensions spiking. My brain honestly feels like a Chrome browser with 200 tabs open. It's just about to crash. And you seem completely unaffected. Does the rational machine even experience pressure?
Well, pressure is fundamentally an evolutionary protective mechanism. But I'd define what we're feeling now as system overload. I was looking at a recent mental health special in The Economist, and it suggested that 40% of modern anxiety comes from just two things.
Okay, what are they?
Information asymmetry and a general unpredictability about the future.
The reason I seem unaffected is just that I default to structural processing when I'm faced with chaos.
Of course you do. Structural processing. That's why you don't have any friends. I'm kidding. But seriously, that's what we need to unpack today. This feeling, this societal pressure that you always have to be upskilling or you'll be replaced by AI. Is that actually driving progress? Or is it just the root of a collective depression? Should we slow down? Why should we?
That is the core question for this deep dive. Today's theme is all about the freedom of being left behind, and why missing out might just be your new superpower.
I love that. Okay, let's get into it. So first, let's look at the argument for pressure. The idea that anxiety is actually fuel. From a systems perspective, a moderate amount of pressure absolutely increases focus. This fear of falling behind, we can call it lagging anxiety. It's clearly driving a massive upskilling of the global workforce.
Yeah, and we have the numbers for that, right? I remember reading that Harvard Business Review analysis.
We do. It showed that the number of people actively learning AI tools in 2025 shot up by 65%.
65, that's huge.
It is. It just shows that fear is a tremendously effective motivator.
For sure.
And if you take that to an extreme, right, if humans had zero pressure, if we all just adopted a laying flat attitude, societal innovation would probably just stop. We'd probably still be on dial-up internet because there'd be no urgency to solve anything.
Okay, that's the rational economic argument. I get it. But what about the human cost? The psychological side that, the data doesn't always capture. It feels like this never-ending competition is just crushing creativity. We're all locked in this I'm not good enough information cocoon.
That term, information cocoon, is key. We're consuming knowledge, yeah, but we're not leaving any space for original thought to actually form.
Exactly. I saw a piece in the New York Times that pointed this out. Despite all this insane technical progress, global anxiety disorder diagnoses are at a 10-year high. We're so advanced, but psychologically we're just breaking down.
It's a bizarre contradiction.
It's everywhere. I even see it with my own mom. I was showing her some AI art, and she got genuinely stressed out. She asked me if she needs to learn prompting just to keep up with her retired square dancing group.
For her square dancing group?
Yes. The pressure is trickling down into the most random parts of life.
That is the ultimate example of anxiety overreach.
Yeah.
Where the signal is just completely lost.
Right. So let's ground this in some of the data for 2025. What's the reality?
Okay, so a Bloomberg report pointed out a job market paradox. Yes, AI is displacing certain roles, that's undeniable, but it's also creating about 30% new jobs focused on collaboration. So it's not a zero-sum game, it's a shift.
But our brains are still overloaded. The Washington Post said we receive something like 5 times more information daily than someone in the 1980s. Our brains weren't built for that.
They weren't, and that leads to this final, really crucial point from the Financial Times. Companies are now starting to list psychological safety as a key productivity indicator.
Ah, that's interesting.
They're realizing that if the workforce is just perpetually anxious and overloaded, efficiency actually plummets.
So the paradox is real. We need just enough anxiety to push us, but not so much that we burn out. It's about learning to control the input.
Exactly. Which brings us to the addiction cycle.
Yes. The phone. The latest studies say in 2025 we check our phones, every 4.2 minutes on average? I'm so guilty of this. Why can't we stop?
Because that constant checking isn't really about gathering information. It's dopamine gambling.
Dopamine gambling.
You're not actually afraid of missing vital information. You're seeking a false sense of control over an environment that is just changing way too fast for anyone to control.
A false sense of control. That is cold, but I think it's true. It's a compulsion. We feel like if we don't look right now, some new AI model will drop and we'll miss the one thing that was supposed to save us.
Well, our cognitive framework has been rewired to see information as a survival ticket. And to be rational about it, the data supports that anxiety. The Financial Times noted that the half-life of knowledge is extremely short right now. Speed really does dictate competitiveness.
That's just the reality of the workplace. You can't argue with it.
No, you can't. A 2025 workplace survey showed employees who were up-to-date on AI tools had 40% higher confidence in their decision-making. For someone like an investment manager, missing a key policy change could be devastating. So the anxiety isn't just random. It's a risk-aversion instinct trying to do its job.
But when that instinct goes into overdrive, it's paralyzing. That's the problem. When we're constantly taking in information, our brains have zero capacity for actual output. There was this columnist for the New York Times who said, we're hoarding information, like buying 5 gym memberships but never going, just to feel better about not learning.
We're collecting knowledge like squirrels, but we're not actually using it, which leads directly to decision paralysis. We're so busy analyzing all 10 options that we never commit to any of them.
It's pure FOMO, the fear of becoming a digital primitive.
And what's really fascinating is the evolutionary mismatch.
How so?
Our ancient brain, which evolved to fear missing vital survival info like, where's the tiger, is now misapplying that exact same intense fear response to a social media notification.
So my brain can't tell the difference between a real threat and my friend's vacation photos?
Not really. And The Economist pointed out that social media is now a full-time arena where we compare our messy real lives with everyone else's manufactured highlight reel.
Which just makes you feel like you're not on the boat.
And that's when you see the counter trend, a huge rise in digital detox practices among high-level executives. The most competitive people are proactively disconnecting.
Because they know that constant input actually degrades your performance over time.
Precisely. So stepping back isn't about losing touch. It's about reconnecting with your own cognitive resources.
Okay, so let's talk about how to do that. Recalibrating to slow living. The power of JOMO, the joy of missing out.
And we have to frame this right. Deceleration is not laziness. It is recalibration. It's a necessary countermeasure against what you could call the tyranny of speed.
I think the biggest mindset shift for me was realizing that real efficiency comes from depth, not from juggling a million fragments. All that multitasking I thought was so productive. It was just poor context switching.
That leads right into the cognitive benefits. When we operate at high speed, our brain defaults to what's called continuous partial attention.
Right, never really focus.
But analysis from HBR shows that when you intentionally slow down, you activate something called the default mode network. The DMN.
The DMN. Okay, tell us about the magic switch.
The default mode network is what engages when your brain is technically at rest. When you're staring out a window or in the shower or just walking, that network is the source of deep creative insight. Most big discoveries don't happen when you're frantically answering emails. They happen in those doing nothing moments, when your brain finally has the space to connect old ideas in new ways.
It's like defragging your hard drive. You have to stop all the background tasks so the system can organize itself.
Exactly. And then there are the psychological benefits. The Washington Post noted that most of our anxiety today comes from over-predicting the future. We speed up to try and catch the future, but we miss the present entirely.
Slowing down forces your focus back to right here, right now.
It does. When you just concentrate on simple sensory inputs, your breath, the smell of coffee, you shift your nervous system from fight or flight to relax and restore. It's physical self-preservation.
So how do we actually do this? What are the strategies?
First, you have to establish information immunity. Just accept that 90% of the information flooding your feeds is noise.
Yeah.
It'll lose its value in 48 hours.
That's the cognitive filter, focusing on the signal, not the noise.
Right. Focus on knowledge with a long half-life. Foundational ideas, history, human behavior. Ignore the shallow, real-time push notifications that are just designed to trigger that dopamine hit.
And then there's the behavioral side. I've been trying this one, the no phone first hour rule.
That's a crucial one.
That first hour after you wake up is when your brain is most creative. You can't let notifications steal that control and just set an anxious tone for the entire day.
And with that, you have to practice single tasking. Just try focusing on one thing for 30 minutes. No other tabs, no notifications. You'll be amazed at how the quality of your work improves when your brain isn't constantly switching contexts.
Finally, we need to get comfortable with being bored again.
Yes.
Put the phone in a drawer, go somewhere without Wi-Fi, and just sit. Boredom isn't the enemy. It's where creativity starts.
And maybe the philosophical core of all this is, why are we so afraid of being slow? Often, speed is just an escape. We run fast to avoid confronting our own inner emptiness.
We use the external chase, the need to upskill, to check the phone, all to distract ourselves from figuring out our own internal purpose.
So to sum it all up, this isn't about moving to a cabin in the woods. It's about training your mind to be able to close the door, even when you're in a chaotic world.
Totally. When I actually slow down, when I just go sit in a park, I get more good ideas than I do from scrolling 100 feeds. Slow is a form of high efficiency because you're focusing your energy on what's actually valuable to you.
So the goal isn't to catch every single wave. It's to know your destination and then choose the right vehicle for you, even if it's a slower one.
So a question for you to think about this week. What part of your life feels too fast to breathe? Is it the work pressure, or is it just the sheer amount of information you feel you have to consume?
Whatever it is, we encourage you to try to slow down. Just a little. I promise, if the apocalypse happens, I will send you an email. You can check it 3 hours later.
Perfect. Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. If you appreciate this kind of balanced discussion, one that encourages you to think for yourself, please make sure you subscribe to Sip and Talk.
We also want to give a shout out to our old friend Mickey's YouTube channel, Mickey to Life. Go check it out for some fun memes and travel vlogs, a great reminder of how to find some joy in the real world.
We will catch you on the next deep dive.
Stay curious and slow down to think.